Afternoon. We're going to look at averages today. We looked at averages worksheet yesterday, and today we were going to take that a step forward and look at the averages questions that we see in exams. I know we've done these before, but it is a case of exposing yourself to them multiple times to understand the process and recognizing what the question is asking, because it can talk about many different things. It's just figuring out, is it asking for the medium, the mode, the mean, the range, or is it a frequency table? So I've got the exam ones open here. On the top of the worksheet yesterday, I did write a little brief of what each average was. And if you're in an exam and you're not sure, but you remembered it and you revised it, and as soon as you get into the exam, you want to get it off your chest, then you can absolutely. So you can't take anything in with you that says what they are, but you can absolutely write these down as soon as you get in. So we've got most common for mode. For range, we've got the highest figure, take away the lowest. Median, we think of it as being clothed, small, medium, and large. So it's the middle number when in order, middle when in order. And then mean, add all up. Oh, I'll put add all up, and divide by number of occurrences. Then there's a frequency table, which is an extension of mean. What we'll do, we'll see some of these questions in action, partly in action, I should say, because you never ever get a question that's purely based on just one topic. It builds others in. So as you can see from this first question, straight away you've got circles involved, you've got area involved, you've got pi involved, and then when it gets to the bottom part, then you start talking about medium, and it's worth 6 marks. So that's the most you're going to get for any exam question at level 1 or at level 2. So let's read a question and see what we're going to do. So Eric wants to put rubber matting around the shot put circle. The radius of the circle is 3'8". The dimensions are shown in a diagram. Okay, so this is the one I remember this time. I haven't, and I need to go and get. So on the exam paper, you get an actual a conversion table. So if we grab the conversion table, you click on a button on the exam, and the conversion table opens up. So if I grab, I've got it somewhere. I know I've done it somewhere. Where's my statistical measures last time? Top question. There it is. So let's grab. Can we grab just that? I think we can. Copy that. Grab that. Right. Can we drop it in here? Let's see if it comes with all the writing on it or not. It's come with some writing on. We can get rid of the writing. Oh, well, we can't. We got rid of the whole thing. Okay. Let's get rid of these. Okay, it's got some writing there, but if we more answers here. Afternoon, more answer. Just literally starting the first question. What I did, I wrote down.
Good afternoon.
Like I said, revise. If you're revising and you can't remember what's what for the exam, literally when you get into the exam, you can write things down as long as you can prove you've got a blank piece of paper when you go into that exam. So I wrote them quickly up here. It took me about 30 seconds. So again, if it's in the non-calc, I mean, I wouldn't write them down until I get to calc, but then you've had 30 minutes to kind of forget them. So if you have to write things down, obviously write it down as soon as you get in. But it does waste 30 seconds. And if you can think of a quicker way to write these down or memorize them, then absolutely do that. Okay, so we've got here a circle. We've got meters. We've got feet. We've got median going on here. So we'll break it down into 6 points. So the first thing we need to do here is work out the area of the full square. So the full square we've got here is, my calculator will be up in a minute, but we've got 6.5 times by 5.5. And then we're going to take away the circle, but we'll work out the circle area in a second. So what we'll do first is 5.5 times 6.5, 5.5. 5 times 6.5. So that's the full area of this, of the orange bit, if the circle wasn't there. So we've got 35.75. And then we're going to take away the circle part, but we can't take away the circle part until we convert this part into meters. So what we're going to do, we're going to look at the 3.8 feet, and that's my dotted lines from last time. I couldn't get rid of them, so we're going to go up from 3.8. As you can see, there's 5 gaps between 3 and 4, so that means each line is worth 0.2. So we're going on the last line before it. We're getting right up to there, and we're going along. That one's not as clear as that one, so I reckon it's 1. I'll put 1.3 there. We'll go 1.3. That's 1.2. I don't 1.1, 1.2, 1.3, 1.4. So that's 1.2. Let's go 1.2. Let's go 1.2 because that's nearly the second line. So we're going to say that 3.8 feet is 1.2 meters. And once we've got the measurement changed to meters, we can work out the area of a circle. The area of a circle is calculated by pi times by radius squared. We've now got the radius, it's 1.2. So we've got 1.2 times 1.2 times 3.14. If you have got a calculator that's got a pi button on it, don't use it in your exam. Use 3.14, only because it makes it easier when it comes to rounding it up in the same way that they've rounded it up. So 1.2 times 1.2, that's the radius squared, times by pi, 3.14. And that gives us 4.5216. 4.5216. If we're going to round that up or round that down, we can keep it as 4.52 because that's a 1. And we've already got our other number to 2 decimal places, or if you think about it, in centimeters, because this bit's parts in meters. So we can now do our big square, 35.75. Take away what our circle is worth, 4.52. And then we've got the area then of the orange part. So let's go 35.75, take away 4.52, and that is our orange shaded part. So orange, so we're going to put here orange equals 31.23, and it's still meters squared. Use this graph conversion, we've done that already. I'll scroll down a little bit. Eric goes online and finds the cost of flooring. Eric decides to use the median cost per square meter for the total cost. So the median, and what I'll do, we will write these out. So lowest 49.5, that's that one. 58, 52, 52.25, done. 56, yeah, 56.80. That's that one. 58, 57, 57.20. That one. And we've got 2 lots of 58.30, 58.30, and 58.30 again. 1, 2, and then we've got 62.70, and lastly we've got 65.90. Brilliant. Okay, so we've got 8 numbers, as you can see there. So when we're talking median, we need the middle value. And because there's an even number of numbers, we need the middle 2 numbers. So when there's 8 numbers, we need the 4th number and the 5th number. So the 4th number is 57.20. And the second one is 58.30. So we add them both up, and then we divide it by 2 to get the middle of those 2 numbers. So let's get our calculator back out. We've got 57.20, add 58.30 equals that, divided by 2, and we've got 57.75. Put it over there for a second, it'll disappear a bit. 57.75. Right, so we've now got our median price. He rounds the area per flooring to the nearest whole number in square meters. So our 31, it rounds it to the nearest. It doesn't. It rounds it up. Sorry. So that's really important. That one word, he rounds it up. So he's going upwards. So he's buying more than what he needs. So we can see there that becomes 32. And then he thinks the flooring is going to cost less than £2,000. So we're going to go the median price times by 32, and this number needs to be less than 2,000 for it to be correct. So times by 32 equals 1,848. So 1,848. That's our price. Is he correct for the 6th mark? That'll be yes. And that's a heavy question. If that was near the start of the exam, is it near the start of the exam? 2B. So yeah, it's the second question in, so it is quite a heavy question for the sort of second question into an hour and a half exam. But if you got that one out of the way, you're not going to get any more 6-pointers in your exam. So all that working out, that was what the notes I made at the start. So that's not part of the question, but working out the area, 1 point, area of a circle, 2 point, finding out the full area, as in like square takeaway circle, will be the 3rd point. 4th point is the median. 5th point is the median times by your new area, and the 6th point is to say yes or no. So that's how it's broken down for 6 points. A big question to start with, and another big question. Okay, it's not the same topic. It's later on in the exam, so it's question 3C, but it's the same exam. So you've got a 5-pointer and a 6-pointer in the same exam, which is good. Tanya wants to make candles in the shape of a square-based pyramid. I'm not very good at drawing square-based pyramid, so we can go there. Oh, definitely not. You can't really see that line there. Candles, square-based pyramid, and she's going to work out the volume using this formula. We've not had to remember a formula for a square-based pyramid. Why would you? We've got it already written here, and you can see that the dimensions of the candle are length of each side 20, height is 30, so we can do it straight away. Look, we've got the base, B is the length of the sides, so we're going to go volume equals B squared. B is 20 times by H 30. Okay, so we've now converted what we see in here straight into numbers and then divide it by 3. That stays the same. So we've now got our formula to work out the volume of a candle. 20 times 20, think of it as being 2 times 2 and add 2 zeros on the end. 2 times 2 is 4, and if we stick 2 zeros on the end, it's 400. So we go 20. Oh, if we go 20, no, we just go 20 times 20 just to be sure. So 20 times 20, we've got 400. So it's 400 times by 30 divided by 3. So 400 times by 30. 4,000 divided by 3 equals 4,000. So each candle is 4,000 centimeters. Because it's 3D, it's cubed, it's a 3 on there. So that's one candle. Tanya will use paraffin wax to make these candles. 100 centimeters cubed of paraffin wax weighs 0.093 kilograms. And he finds these prices per kilogram for paraffin wax. So she's got all those prices. She does use the modal price. So modal is most common. So the most common price is the one that appears most. So it's this one that appears twice. So we're going to use £4.49 our price. She decides to use the model price to work out the candle. She needs 250 candles. So we got this part here. We can times it by 250, and then we can see how much weight it's going to be. So we've got one candle here. So we go 4,000. That's our candle volume in centimeters cubed, divided by 100. And we divide it by 100 because we want to know how much kilos, how many kilograms each candle's going to weigh. So because we know that every time 100 How many times 100 go into 4,000? It's going to be 40. And once we've got that number, we know that we're going to have to times this number by 40 because we've shrunk that one by 40 times. So we need to make that one grow. So you're going to times that one by 0.093 because it fits into 4,000 40 times. So that's how much paraffin wax we need to buy in kilograms. So we had 4,000, we divided it by 100 equals 40. And then we need 40 lots of our wax. So times it by 0.093. And we've now got kilograms of wax. And that's per candle. So equals 3.72. These are heavy candles. I say this every time. 3.72 kilograms of paraffin wax per candle. So 3.72. And we're making 250 of them. Times by 250. So this is our kilograms of wax that we need. Let's have a look. We've got times by 250 equals no. Yeah, 930 kilos. Amazing. Wow, that is a lot of wax. 930 kilograms in total of wax. It does say 250. It does say 250. The modal price, £4.49 per kilo. So we're using our kilo of 930 times by the modal price of £4.49 to give us a total price of how much Tanya's going to have to spend on wax to make 250 candles. So 930 multiplied by £4.49 equals £4,175.70. Wow, £4,175.70 for wax for candles. That's a lot of money. And it says, I mean, whether it's candles, whether it's Tanya, it doesn't really make any difference. You need to just follow the story. So we're following, find a volume of a shape with a formula. We've done that. And then once we've got the volume, we're going to try and, we found out the weight for paraffin wax that we need. So it gives you the conversion here. Look, does it saying for every 100 centimeter cubed, we need 0.093 kilograms of wax, hence why we divided the volume by that number to give us how much wax we need. And then we had one candle here, so we times that by 250 to work out the bulk. So all the time we're adding more onto the story. And once we've got the total weight we needed, we added another bit on the story because it told us how much it was costing. We've worked out the modal, which is the most common, and we've got our total price. So 5 marks there. 1 for the volume, 2 for the conversion into how much weight you need in kilos, 3 for the total weight of 250 kilograms, 4 for telling me the most common or the modal number, and 5 for doing the most common number times by the total weight to give you a price. So the 5 marks there are broken down, 1 for each step quite clearly. Okay, so let's go question 4. Straight away, you see that on any question, and you know you're going to have to do a frequency table. We did a couple yesterday, and some of the earlier ones had midpoint already written on there for us, and then they had total here. And when it said total, it actually gave you a further clue because it said midpoint times by the frequency. And as you can see here, the frequency is not labeled. This column is the frequency. It's a number of occurrences. It's a number of times that's happening. So that's the frequency. So if on your table, when you get into an exam, it says, oh, it doesn't say frequency, what am I going to find out? It's the second column. It's the one that's telling you it's the number of occurrences. And the one with the parameters in there is always the one where you got to work out the midpoint for. So 0 add 10 is 10 divided by 2 is 5. So this one's slightly kinder than some of the ones we did yesterday. The ones we did yesterday are what I would say are true life ones because it's saying 10 and above, whereas and equal to 10. So yeah, it should be 11 there really, but we're not going to complain because it's easy to work out. So 10 add 20 is 30 divided by 2 is 15. 20 add 30 divided by 2 is 25. And then 30 add 40 is 70 divided by 2 is 35. So when we've got all our midpoints, we can now use our calculator, times them by our frequencies, and we get our total column. And like I said, the actual exam, the actual worksheet yesterday told us what to do next. It's midpoint multiplied by frequency. So they're good pointers. If you're practicing frequency table questions and you're doing that worksheet, it's really good in the fact that it gives you all the information that then dwindles it down. So by the end of that worksheet, you're getting exactly what we see here. So we've got first one there, then we've got 15 times by 21. We've got 315, and then we've got 8 times 25. Well, 4 times 25 is 100, so 8 times 25 has to be 200. And then we've got 3 times 35, so 3 times 30 is 90. 3 times 5 is 15, so that's 105. So we can add all those up. Use your calculator if you need to. That's a 10, and that's another 10. That's 11. And that's another one, and then that's 5, 6, 7. So we've got 710 is our total. And then we've got to divide it by the number of occurrences. Well, it told us here 50. If it didn't tell us there, so some questions don't tell you, just got to add all those numbers up. And that's going to give us our estimated mean. So we've got 710 divided by 50 equals 14.2. Okay, 14.2. Unbelievably, all that sum already is probably only going to give us 2 marks. If it's a normal frequency table, you rarely get more than 2 marks. So then we got the added bits. In March, the estimated mean number of days his clients booked package holidays for was 9.41. So that's March. Or we just do April. Yeah, so that's April. Marcus thinks that the estimated mean number of days for April is over 1.5 times greater than the estimated mean number for March. So 1.5 times greater. So we're going to go 9.41 is March is greater times by 1.5 should equal that. Marcus thinks the estimated mean number of days for April is over. So he's saying that number's bigger. Okay. So let's have a look. That's times 9.41 because that's March by 1.5 because he's saying it's the new number is going to be 1.5 times bigger. 14.115. 14.115. So that's 1.5 times bigger than 9.41. Our number, as you can see, 14.2 is bigger than 14.115. Not very much, but doesn't matter. It's bigger because that's 0.2, that's 0.1. So it doesn't matter how small that gap is. The fact that it's bigger is correct. So we've got there a yes for our 4th mark. Like I said, you're going to get 2 marks for doing all your frequency calculations, your midpoints and your frequency and your totals, and then your estimated mean. You're only going to get 1 mark for actually understanding you need to do 9.41 multiplied by 1.5. So that'd be 3 marks all together up to there. And then the 4th mark is saying if it's bigger or not. So by doing a crocodile, we can see, yes, actually the number that he says, 14.2, is more than 1.5 times greater than 9.41. Okay. A 1 marker, amazing. Thank goodness for that. We've got a 1 marker. Marcus has this information about the number of bookings made in the first 6 months of 2023. He wants to compare these bookings with those made in the same period last year. Use the data to complete the table. Okay, so straight away for 1 mark, we've got range. And at the start of the exam, when we wanted to get it all off our brain, we said that range was highest number, take away the lowest number. So as you can see here, we've got the range here, we've got a 92. And then our lowest number is 60. Double check 60 equals 32. So the range that slots in there is 32. And that's your 1 mark. You move on. And again, with those sort of questions, it's not taking me 2 minutes because we've said it before where if you see a 1 marker, averaging it out, it should take no more than 2 minutes. So for every 1 mark, you get 2 minutes worth of time. So with that one, we've not taken 2 minutes, so we can move on straight away, and we're still feeling confident. Compare the mean and the range for the bookings in the first 6 months of 2023 with the mean and the range bookings, the first bookings of 2022. It's got the numbers written here for you. We don't have to do any maths at all. We just need to write. So the mean comparison, we can see that the mean has increased in 2023. So mean has increased. This is the hard bit, so I've got to write. The mean has increased from 2022 to 2023. Am I going to write by how much it's increased? No, don't need to. I've just noticed that I can see that that number is bigger than that number. So it's increased. I mean, you could say it's increased by more than 15, but more than 15 what? Bookings per month, per day, per week. So it's just increased. And then the range. So we can see that the range, almost talking ranges yesterday, we remember that you might get that word that crops up that doesn't say about the range. It says the word consistency. So the smaller the range, the more consistent the numbers are. So we can see here that the range is smaller in 2022. Range is smaller in 2022, therefore more consistent. That's all I'm writing. Again, I've just told them exactly what I see. And so for that question alone, we've got 3 marks. For writing a statement, there's no math to be done. It's just writing a statement, which sometimes is a pain, but we've got another 6 marker. Amazing. And this is a non-calculator, so this is even better. Well, it's not better, but it's good. It's challenging. So if you get a 6 pointer on your non-calculator, the whole non-calculator paper is worth 15. So if you get a 6 pointer and you get it all right on the first attempt, then you've got 9 points to collect in the rest of the questions. So great, a 6 pointer. So let's have a look. Carsten collects 12 kilograms of honey from his beehive. He buys some jars. Each jar holds 1 pound of honey. Each jar holds 1 pound of honey. Okay. Carsten wants to sell his honey. He finds his prices online for 1 pound of honey in a jar. Price for 1 pound of honey jar. Use the median price of jars for honey. He thinks if he sells all his jars of honey, he will receive over £240. So median. So we can do that bit first. It's worth 6 points. So median. Let's go smallest number. That is the smallest number. And then we've got, so that's that one. 790. 8. That's good. My writing's getting bigger. £8.20. 980. 10. No? Yes, 10. 12.50. And then lastly 13.90. So again, there's 8 numbers. We need the middle 2. It's non-calculator this time, don't forget. So we can't just suddenly whack it in a calculator. £8.20 and £9.80. That's a pound. And that makes that into 9. So the way I look at that is that that's £18. £18 divided by 2 gives us £9. Okay, so we're selling our honey for £9 per pound, if you know what I mean. Right, so now we know that he's got 12 kilograms of honey. So to work out how many pounds are in 12 kilograms, we need to use this formula here. It says that for every 1 pound, 1 kilogram is 2.205. We want 12. Okay, so we can see we've increased that number by 12. So we can do it 2 ways. We can increase that one by 12 if you're comfortable. If you're not comfortable, then why not do 2.205 times by 10? So that means the decimal place moves 1 place to the right. So that becomes 22.05. So that's 10 kilos. And then add 2 lots of that. 2.205, 2.205. That's a 0 and a 1. That's a 0. So that becomes a 1. 2 add 2 is 4. 2 add 2 is 4. We've now got our 10 kilograms and our 4.41. So 10 add 4.41 is 14.41. We know he's got 14.41 kilograms of honey. Pounds, sorry, kilograms, what we're talking about. Get rid of that then, because I wrote kilograms there, and I wrote kilograms there. That's right. I'm thinking, right, have I just, yeah, I've done that wrong now, haven't I? I'm thinking, why, that's 20. Right, and then that's 20. Right, what did I do there? I don't know what I wrote 10 there for. All right, let's go back to this part, because it's not 14.4. I'm thinking that's going to be, doesn't look right, because I had 12 kilograms of honey. So we've got 22.05, and then we've got 4.41. That's better. So we've now got 26.46 pounds. Oh my gosh, get my pounds and kilograms getting right tangled up. 0.46 pounds of honey. We have to times it by 9. So let's get that down here. Times by 9. We could times it by 10 and just take away one lot if you want. So there's 2 ways you can do that. If you're not comfortable timesing that by 9, then we times it by 10 again, which makes that 264.6. And then we take away literally 26.46. If that makes it easier for that's a 6, by the way. So we can't do that. So that would become a 5. That would become a 1. We've got 10 take away 6 is 4. 5 take away 4 is 1. 4 take away 6 we can't do, so that becomes a 5. That becomes a 1. 14 take away 6 is 8. 5 take away 2 is 3. And 2 take away 0 is 2. So we could do it like that if you wish. Or we could just do it a straight multiplication. So you got, we're going to get the same answer. So 6 times 9 is 54. 4 times 9 is 36. Add our spare. 36 and 5 is 41. 6 times 9 again is 54. Add our spares is 58. And then 2 times 9 is 18. Add our spares is 23. So whichever way round, again, when it's non-calc, if you're comfortable doing times by 10, moving the decimal place once to the right, then just take one lot away, because you only need 9 lots. 6 times by 9. Do it that way. If you're comfortable multiplying by 9 in the straight column method, then it's that way for you. It doesn't matter which way around you go. You just do it.
10 is easier, I think.
Times by 10, yeah. So like I did here, especially non-calc, times it by 10, then add 2 more lots. It's just sometimes, so my brain is sometimes thinking, oh, if I'm feeling a bit lazy, I might do it that way because I know I'm going to be dead certain. I'm only working in 1s and 10s. Whereas if I want to work it out quick, I'll just do the straight times by 9. But again, it's how you see the numbers, and and then the last point will be he thinks he's going to receive over 2, so it's no. That one, that's a no for the 6th point. Yeah, but it's the same with most math, isn't it? There's lots of ways of doing questions, so how you see it is on the day might be different to how you see it the next time and the next time. You see different ways. It's just exposure to the more maths you watch, the more maths you listen to, the more maths you do, the easier it becomes. But then the more used to you're going to be to the questions you see. So this question, it's a good. Well, I always find it a good question, but I always find it like for 4 marks. I find this one quite like really involved for just 4 marks. So straight away we've got he's selling ice cream. And he decides to sell for the modal price. So straight away we're looking at that. We've got £3.50. So we know the mode. So we've got 1 mark already. So if you've got stuck after this, you've got 1 mark for telling me the mode. Which, okay, that's it's not ideal. But if you really were stuck there and you wrote the mode and it's £3.50, you've clicked yourself one mark because you know what the mode is. So he decides to sell a cone with 1 scoop of ice cream for the model price. If it costs Luigi £20.40 for 1 tub of ice cream, right, £20.40 for an ice cream and 6p for a cone. He knows that there are 40 scoops of ice cream in 1 tub. So we're going to divide that number by 40 because we're getting 20 ice creams out of it. So where's my calculator gone? It's there, £20.40, and we divide it by 40 because he's getting 40 ice creams out of it. So we know that each ice cream, just for the ice cream, is costing us 51p. So 51p is the ice cream, and then 6p is the cone. So we've got 57p, and then they charge £5. Like, amazing. £3.50, but yeah, 57p per ice cream in cone, per ice cream and cone. Right, Luigi works out that the sale price for an ice cream cone with 1 scoop is 534% more than the cost price. Is he correct? So when we see percentage questions that are over 100%, it's like, whoa, how do we do that? How do we possibly get that much? It's quite straightforward. If I've got 57 times by 100%, yeah, that is 57 times by 1. It's asking me what 100% of that value is. So I've got 57 times by 534. So if 100% is worth 1, so 500% is worth 5, and my 0.34, my 34 is worth, like you have in normal percentages, 5.34. So that is timesing a number by 534%. I've changed it to a decimal and it's now become 5.34. So let's see if he's right. Is he making a staggering 534% profit per ice cream? 57. And this is going to be in P, by the way, times by 5.34 equals 304. Have I just done that right? 57 times by 5.34. Yeah, okay. So each ice cream is going to be 304.38. So that becomes £3.0438. So he says Luigi works out the sale price of an ice cream cone with 1 scoop is 534% more than the cost price. Is that true? I mean, it is, but it isn't. This is what bugs me about this question, because normally you get more than, equal to, or less than. When I see that, I mean, because his cost price is 3.04 and the sell price is bigger at 3.50. So is he correct? Luigi works out the sale price of an ice cream with 1 scoop is 530% more than the cost price. So I've just times my cost price, which is 57p, by 534, and I haven't got to that number. So you can argue that it's not right, it's not correct, because it's even more. The actual profit, the sell price is even more than 534%. So I would be tempted to write no on this one, but I am sure the question, when we've looked at it before, I'm sure the answer is yes. Luigi works out sale price of an ice cream cone with 1 scoop is, it's just that bit there. It should be more. Almost that should be almost there. Is more than 530. You know, it's just because those 2 words for me should be before the number. Hence why I would say no. It's more than. And I know it says more than there, but it's more than 534%. If you know what I mean. But if it came to that in an exam, and you've done all this workings out and you've said no, like I would, and done your little crocodile to say, actually, no, it's even more than 534%, you would get all 4 marks because you've correctly justified why you've said no. If you said yes, then they're going to be on the lines of think, well, actually, yeah, it's yes, it's more than that. So they'll give you yes as well, they'll give you both there. But I still think it's no and just no only. If somebody wrote yes on there, I wouldn't be having it because it's not yes. That means it will be £3 and 4p, and it's not. It's £3.50. Okay. Straight away again we see frequency table. We've got the midpoints not written in, neither's the total. So we do that on our pad of paper next to us. We've got midpoints here. So we've got 140 and 160. So the midpoint is 160 there. We've got there, the midpoint's going to be 200 because we're just going straight into the middle, adding 20. Oh, so adding 20, that was 240. And then that one is 280. So we've got all our midpoints. We can see that it's times by 1. That's an easy one. That's times by 5. That's another relatively easy one. Times by 7, not so easy. And times by 7, not so easy. So let's do that. 240 times by 7 is 1,680. 1,680. And then we've got the other one times by 7. So we've got 7 times 280. 1,960. 1,960. Add all those up. Add all those up. So add 1680. Add 1,000. Add 160. And we've got 4,800. So it's one day where you didn't. So 4800 is our number. We had number of days, so divided by number of occurrences, 20. So if we did 48 divided by 20 and then put 2 zeros on the end, we're going to get exactly the same as what we're going to do if we do 4,800. So equals 240. So on an average day, they're looking at making £240. Luigi thinks the estimated mean amount of money per day from sales is over 250. Is he correct? No. So Luigi was not correct above, and he's not correct this one. So Luigi needs to maybe reconsider his job as an ice cream salesman because he's not been right twice. And then we got what have we got here? 4 marks. So again, we're justifying here. Look, ages. Natalia knows that 4 couples had ceremonies at the registry office last weekend. 4 couples. The table shows the type of ceremony and the age of each person. Natalia makes these 2 steps in her report. The mean age of people who had civil partnerships was higher than those that got married. The mean, we haven't got the mean, so we're going to add all those up. It's non-calculator. So we're going to go 29, add 26, add 27, add 46. So that's 15, add 7, that's 22, that's 28. So 28 for the first one, 2, 6, 10, 12. So we've got 128 for that one. And that's not what we write in there because obviously we've got to divide it by 4. So 128 divided by 4. So we go 4s into 1 doesn't go. 4s into 12 goes 3 times. 4s into 8 goes twice. So the mean age for this one is 32. 32 is the mean age of civil partnerships. So we've now got the mean age. The mean age of people who had civil partnerships was higher than those that got married. So statement A is correct. The ages of people who got married were more consistent. So remember what we said about consistency. Consistent equals lower range. So let's have a look. The range of marriages was 38, take away 24. So that'd be 14. So 38, take away 24. And in this one, we've got 46, take away 26, 20. So read the statement again. The ages of people who got married were more consistent. Yes, true. 14 is a range. Explain why each statement is correct. Well, that's hard because it is. Let's put here correct because the range is lower. And then that one, why is that one correct? Well, because the mean is higher. Correct because mean for civil partnership is 32 and higher than married. Okay. So non-calc for 4 marks. Quite straightforward. We didn't do a lot of math. We did a divide by 4, but it was a straight divide because 4's into 12 and 4's into 8. And we added up 4 double digits. A 6 marker again. God, they're coming in thick and fast, 6 markers. Charlie wants to work out how much he will spend on fuel. His rental car can travel 68 kilometers per gallon. Charlie plans to drive a total of 4,148 kilometers. He finds current prices of fuel at different locations on his route. Charlie decides to use the median price of fuel and increase it by 12% to allow for fuel price increases. How much is he going to spend? Well, and then we've got to convert it to from dollars to pounds. So lots going on. So let's do one bit first. Let's do the median. So let's work out the median. Oh, we've got 8 costs. We've got 8. Never is an odd number. Never. So we've got the lowest is 386, 384, 384. Done. 386. Yeah, twice. I can make a modal. Done. Okay. Then we've got 390. Yeah, 390. I need that one, so that's one I need. That's that one. And the next one up is 410. I'm actually not going to bother doing the other ones because I know that'll be 454, 460, and 573. I need these 2 numbers here. It's a calculator paper, so I can actually go 390 if I wanted to. Add 410. We can see that makes up to 4, so that's 8 divided by 2. So we're going to pay a price of $4. Can't even do the dollar sign. Per litre or gallon? Per gallon, okay. So we know it's per gallon. And now we can work out. So we've done pretty much this bit here. We've then got to add on 12%. So we can do that in a second. Or we can do it now. 4 add 12% on a calculator if you want, because it is a calculator paper. If you've got that function, 4 add 12%. If you really want to do it like that, is just done. Oh, I did it twice then. Sorry, I did it twice. Let's do it once. 4 add 12% equals £4.48. If you didn't have that function on your calculator, so we know it's $4.48. If we just work out what 12% of 1 is, or 100, equals 12, that's saying 404 pounds, the 00 at the end. So it's just 4 times, that's just times by 4, so that's 48. So 12% or 12% of 400 equals that. So we know it's $4.48 for our gallon of fuel. And then we're going to look at, he plans to drive 4,148 kilometers, and it's per gallon. So we're going to divide it by the number of kilometers our car goes per gallon. So if we go total distance divided by number of kilometers per gallon, it's going to give us our number of gallons. So we're going to divide 4,148 by 68. 4,148 divided by 68. So we know we're going to go 61 gallons. 61 gallons of fuel. And we've added up on our 12% because we know it's going to cost us an extra 12% just in case. So that's times by our 4.48 times by 4.48. So it's going to cost us in dollars, still in dollars, 273.28. If we go here and say, right, $1, and that's one's pounds, I'm not very good at, well, I'm rubbish at trying numbers. We can clearly see that our dollars is going to be more than what the price in pounds is going to be. So that should tell us what we've got to do here. If you did it the wrong way around, you're going to get a number that's bigger. So we need a number that's going to be smaller than that. So if we multiplied it by 0.8, we can see that we got a number that's smaller than the dollars. So that is the right way. If we did it the other way, by accident, or we weren't sure which way around it goes, 273.28 divided by 0.8. We've now got $341 pounds. We can see, well, that can't be right because $1 is worth more than £1. So how can $273 now become £341? It doesn't work. It has to be smaller. So if you set it out like that and see what one's worth, you can see that's the smaller side. And that's the price we're going to pay, £218 for 6 marks, which I quite like that question for 6 marks, but yeah, it doesn't seem like you're getting a lot here. You've got to count. It's a lot of writing. We've got time for one more. And this is, I like this one. It's a true value of a frequency table question, 2 marks. They don't get any more than that, but there's nothing.
A lot like we have here.
Okay.
On a question paper, do we have like, I don't know how many we've had, the frequency ones.
You're going to get,
or it's just maybe 2 or 3.
You're probably going to get 1 in every exam. And it's normally worth, if it like this one is just a frequency table, nothing else, that's all it's going to be worth, 2, maybe 3. Normally you have something else to do as well as the frequency, like the one we had up here was 2 marks, and it was just a case of justifying yes or no. The bigger one up here was 4 marks, and we had to do something else and then something else. So we had 2 extra marks to add on. So if you get a straight shooting frequency table and it's worth more than 2, amazing. But generally, they're not going to be worth more than 2 because it's not difficult maths, it's process, and that's what they're looking for. They're looking for you to understand the process. So we're going to put total there. We know it's the midpoint. 20 add 30 is 50, divided by 2 is 25. 30 to 40 is going to be 35. 40 to 50, add them both up, it's 45. 50 to 60, 110, 55. And we can do that times that times that times that. 2 times 25 is 50. 10 times 35 is 350. 7 times 45, 7 times 4 is 280. Add 7 times 5 is 35, so that's 315, but we'll double check. 45 times 7 equals 315, just in case. And it is a calculator paper, so that is allowed. And then 1 times 55. Add them all up. 0, 1, 5, 10, 15, 16, 17, 3, 6, 7. We've got 770 as our total. We divide it by 20 for our estimated hourly rate of staff. 770 divided by 20, and that's 38. Hourly rate, £38. Nice. Okay, £38.50. Right. And that's your mean estimate of hourly rate. We got a 5, and we don't have time, but we'll.
Right. I was still looking at them.
You what?
7 times 45 is 315.
Yeah. That's what I wrote.
I'm thinking. I thought it wasn't right.
Yeah, because I went 7 times 4 equals 28. and then it's 7 times 40, so I'll put a 0 on the end, and then I put 7 times 5 is 35, and then I just did 5, 11, and 3.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah, and again, it's sometimes breaking those numbers down. So if it's a non-calculator paper, I'm not saying get used to doing things with non-calculator, but if you do get the chance when you're practicing, do things as much as you can without a calculator. Even if it's a calculator paper, try and do some of the things that you can do in that question without a calculator, so it gets you used to doing the sums. Because if you do have to do it non-calculator, or it pops up in a non-calculator, oh yeah, I can do that one. So the more you can do non-calculator, get used to doing it, you might find that actually when it comes to a non-calculator paper, you've got some tricks up your sleeve that you've learnt when it was a calculator or when you were practicing, and you can put it into practice. So that one, we're not going to get a chance to do the last 3, 4 questions. So what I'll do, I'll stop the recording and then I'll do those 4 on Monday at 10 o'clock.
Okay.